Hello and welcome to the Worn and Wound podcast. My name is Blake Bettner and I am live in our offices today. Well, kind of a makeshift studio, a new office. This is a new office for our company, the Worn and Wound Company and Company, LLC,
Worn and Wound Company Limited.
whatever we call
Worn
it.
and Wound Universal, yeah.
Worn and Wound Universal. We are, we're all together here. This is great. We're all in town. I've got Zach Weiss. Hey, Zach, how are you?
Hey, really good.
Really good. He's
Really good to be in my hometown. Yeah.
We also have Zach Kazan over there, not in the computer, not in New Hampshire.
The computer, yeah.
In person in the room here.
Yeah.
And we are also delighted to be joined by not even a guest, just Kat Shoulders.
I know, this is strange for me.
Newest team member.
Newest
Yeah.
team member, Kat
Yeah.
Shoulders. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank
welcome
you.
to Worn and Wound.
Thank you.
for being
Appreciate it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here.
here. We're all delighted to have
Very excited.
Yeah, very excited to have you here.
It's great.
It's excellent.
you. So,
Go team.
Yeah, go team. go Worn and Wound.
Ever expanding team. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're you. If you're listening, you are likely aware of Kat Shoulders. Not only is she a alum of the Worn and Wild podcast, she has been a podcaster herself for quite some time, and
In the illustrious watch space as well.
Yeah.
yes, in the in the watch space, and she's bringing her talents to South Beach or Brooklyn here. So
Very similar to South Beach.
yes, exactly. It's the South Beach of Brooklyn.
Yeah,
is
it
what,
really is.
So, what are you wearing on your wrist, Ken?
Oh, today I've got my my sub, so pretty much the only watch I brought with me for the trip. But
Love it.
I actually haven't worn this in like 2 months.
Yeah.
Had a lot of new watches come in, so this one kind of took a back seat for a little while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I brought it out.
How's wearing it for a sustained time?
What's up?
Like since you haven't worn it, but now it's like your only watch here, which is a
What?
nice way to do it. Like you try to
Yeah.
force yourself to wear something.
Yeah,
for
and like once I put this on, it usually stays on. I was talking about that with someone else. Like
Yeah.
you put it on, and you're like, all right, this is the watch I'm wearing for the next like 4 or 5 days.
Love it. So this is a new
The 2020
41
model.
millimeter at the slimmer lug,
Yep.
the 21 millimeter lug span, which we're also
Yeah,
talking about because it's
unfortunately,
not
yeah.
as easy to just throw another strap on there and
Yeah.
go. But it's a very cool watch. I know I do the same. I'm sure we all have this, right? We've got watches that we like, but then you get another few incomings, or you're reviewing a watch, so you end up wearing other watches for like weeks, and
Yeah.
and then you get excited about
First world
going
problems,
back
really.
to a watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, really.
Yeah, it is.
Oh darn.
There's so many incoming these days.
Yeah, but well, I mean, even with the watches that we get in for review, I don't know if you guys ever feel like, oh, I'm excited to wear some of my watches that I've gotten that I really like that I haven't had a chance to wear in a while. Well, I guess if you keep your watch collection really small,
Just get me back to that Grand Seiko.
Yeah.
This is this is always
Deliver
on.
me to the Grand Seiko.
I did a similar thing like a year or two ago with that Speedmaster Reduced, and I just forced myself to wear it every day for a week, which like forced myself. That sounds so stupid,
Yeah.
but it's just like the impulse to change regularly.
Yeah.
And then I ended up just putting out like on a different strap every day. And,
That's a good way.
That's
you
good.
know,
Really good.
It was kind of
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
It can really take bring a new personality to a
Yeah,
watch
very
a lot
much
of
so,
times, as
yeah.
we know. Zach Kazan, what are you wearing on your wrist?
I'm wearing a watch that I am reviewing for the site right now. It's the Fair Stanhope 2,
Yes,
the sequel.
the Stanhope 2.
Yeah.
So this has a revised case, I believe.
Yeah, it's
from
a
the first
slightly
one.
larger case, a little bit more complex, very similar dial, but also some enhancements. It's very nice. I like it a lot. It's I think we associate Fair with like these very loud, kind of like aggressive color patterns sometimes,
Yeah.
and this is like much more subdued, and I think a watch that you could like conceivably wear every day, and it still has, if you look for it, some of those like little fairer touches.
Yeah,
here
it
and
absolutely
there.
does. There's interesting colors to be found, and it's still got some personality. I think you could dress that up or down depending on your preferences. I like the new case for this. I felt like the old one, it was all dial, and then like the lugs kind of. So this one, it feels like more of a balance between the dial and the case that works really well.
It's a very different feel. I mean, the first one was sort of like a cushion case, like a Camaro kind of a thing. It's 37. I want to say this
I
one's a
believe
little
so.
larger.
Yeah,
This is 38 and a half.
but the dial I
Yeah.
think is the same size.
Yeah,
Oh,
right,
really?
just
the case
about.
that is kind of grown
Yeah.
around it.
I'd
So.
like to see
has
that like
the-
on a mesh, like on a Milanese
That would
mesh.
look really cool
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
this show.
Could you put it on Velcro, you think?
Oh.
Would you?
Well,
Would you? What
would
kind
you
of
dare?
what kind of a crazy person would do that?
I don't
Would do
know.
that? Velcro, you say? Huh?
Well, ASMR.
I like that watch. And speaking of loud and colorful fairs, as we record this just today, a new dive watch was released by Fair, the Aquamatic.
Aquamatic.
Yeah.
Trademark.
Trademark. Yeah.
Saw the little TM on there. I was like,
Oh,
wow,
really?
good.
Capital
you go,
A,
guys.
capital M, but one word.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Aquamatic.
In a minute here, Zach Weiss, what are you wearing on your wrist?
Wearing a cheap plastic homage watch.
Oh my goodness.
How dare you.
Yeah. The Omega X Swatch Moon Swatch. Not a cheap plastic. Well, whatever. And an affordable. It is I screwed myself
Poor
over here.
man's.
No, none of that. I'm trying to mock the anger and ire towards this watch, obviously. But it is certainly a value-driven and non-metallic watch
Yeah.
in the style of the Speedmaster, but it also says Speedmaster in it, so it is a Speedmaster.
Well,
I'll die on
according
that
to a
hill.
few of the comments on
Yeah.
YouTube, it's not actually Speedmaster. How do you feel
Speedmaster.
about those? About that?
How do I feel about it? They're wrong.
Okay.
I mean,
it says
says
Speedmaster.
So
Speedmaster.
it says
Yeah, I'm saying-
Speedmaster on
Yeah.
it. It's a
Look,
Speedmaster.
if I wrote Speedmaster on this table, it wouldn't be a Speedmaster because I'm not Omega.
I think
but
you leave it open,
Omega
just like,
wrote, you know.
Both names are on the dial. Call it what you will. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I get into the branding a little in my review, which is just like,
Yeah.
what do you call it really? There's like 40 different permutations of the words on this dial you can
Yeah,
go
your
for.
deep dive
But,
was great. Yeah.
oh, thank you. Thank you. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's what I'm wearing now. I figured.
It's true. You did a real deep dive on this with an accompanying video, which is excellent. If you haven't seen it, definitely go.
One could call it
It is
definitive.
the definitive look at the whatever this watch is. It's definitive. Yeah.
No, it's a good review. You should definitely go read it if you haven't. And you can jump into the discussion if you want. I know there's plenty of it happening on the site and on YouTube with some takes all over the map, really. So
Some hot, some lukewarm.
yes,
Yeah.
if you are an owner of one of these and you don't own a Steel Speedmaster, you are not a lesser Speedmaster owner by any stretch. You're part of the family, and we welcome
Yeah.
you.
What's
with
that
open
strap you have on, Zach?
This is the Crown and Buckle Supreme Matte Tundra strap,
Oh,
which
cool.
yeah, I
That's
thought that has a nice kind of brings
The
out the
texture
earthy
on
tones
that, yeah.
on that. So yeah, the strap it came with was the worst part physically.
No.
I'd say. The Velcro strap.
I
Not
have
the
my
Velcro, I
Mission to
just like-
Mars right in front of us as we record this, and
Yeah.
it has the OEM strap on it. That was that Velcro that you just heard that lovely noise. Yes,
It's not the look of the strap I don't like.
the
it's
look
feel.
the look is
Yeah.
fine. And I realized this after I had gotten this one. The bright red case is a little trickier to pair with the strap.
No.
You might have been
Yeah.
onto something with that one.
Yeah.
I've seen you put a number of straps on that
Oh, yeah, all sorts
on the
of
Jupiter,
things.
and they all look really
Mhm.
sharp.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Uh,
I was definitely thinking about that when I was looking at them. I was like, I do not know how you pull off a red and white watch like that. It's a little bit of an odd
bold.
combo. So
Yeah, I don't know either. I did put the steel bracelet of my 3861 on this,
well, that's the
which
best,
which,
obviously.
It fit.
certain people
Yeah,
in the office found
really, wow.
quite triggering. But it fit, so
Yeah.
whatever.
I think it was pretty cool. That was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it was. I'm
Yeah.
wearing a Ming 1709 with the burgundy dial.
Ooh, nice.
And the
Very
OEM
nice.
strap that it comes on.
I didn't notice that
Yeah.
strap is has like a burgundy lining, or kind of has
does.
kind of a bit of a what's that shoe brand? Louboutin. It's got a little bit of a-
Louboutin. Oh,
kind
yeah,
of a look
Christian
there.
Louboutin.
Yeah.
Oh,
The red-
the
the
red,
The red.
soles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the first thing I thought of when I saw it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
kind
this-
of out there.
I don't have any like red or burgundy watches other than the Mission
well,
to
yeah.
Mars.
except for the one
This-
right in front of you.
But this is like a deep like
Yeah.
Merlot eggplantish. There's almost like a purple little tones in there.
Burgundy.
I'm not used to pairing these colors with other straps.
Yeah.
I don't know what I have that I could put with it. I might need your help.
Yeah.
with
Well, I mean, the
that a little
taupe
bit.
looks nice on there. I feel like that's a nice kind of that is a good out of the box pairing. I feel like
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
it's just me. This one gives me real like Oompa Loompa vibes.
So
Is that
to be clear,
the
if you're not
white
watching
and
this
the
video,
red? I
he's
don't
not
know.
talking about the Ming. He's talking about the.
I don't know. That's where my mind goes. My mind relates everything to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory eventually. 'Cause it's probably the movie.
In a
I've
way,
seen
I'm
the
jealous that.
Is it
Oh,
the
everyone
co-
goes-
what is it?
because they have like
What
the
is
little white suits on, and they like it just
Mm.
there's something.
Yeah, no,
I
I
don't
can
know.
see
I
that.
could
It needs some. So where I'm going is you need like a kind of a bright green strap to emulate
A
like the
bright
hair.
green strap.
It
Very,
would
like,
be really-
clinical.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oof.
you might. Okay.
Yeah.
You might be onto something there.
Yeah.
Okay. A Tiffany blue strap, maybe.
Yeah. Trademark.
It's kind of Christmassy to put the red and the green.
Yeah, there you go.
Also,
Oh, yeah.
Also that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Anyway.
Yeah, so that's what we're wearing. We got producer Patrick over there. Hey Patrick, he gives a thumbs up. What are you wearing on your wrist? I think he's got his
Is it
he's got his weird Grand Seiko on over there. I think.
Yeah, SBGR 01.
SPGR 0.
Nine?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
the weird one. Yeah.
It is weird. That watch makes me uncomfortable for some reason.
Really?
It does.
I love it. Oh, I love it.
I don't
Right.
dislike it,
Yeah.
but I also don't. I don't know. There's something about it it's very strange for me.
It is
Uh,
kind of
the
a blend
bracelets,
of
right?
different like worlds, and yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It is. It is.
You know what,
It's
this
an
this
old school one.
typeface has got a little bit of that letter cutter feel
Mhm.
from the.
Oh yeah.
That's right. The
Armory
Yeah.
three
collab
of
that we
you
were just
went
like
to
that.
the armory just earlier this week to see a new. Oh boy, Nyota Hida.
Yeah, I think you said
it
perfectly, yeah.
Tell us about this. I've still not seen one of these in flesh. What were your impressions of this watch? What did you guys think of it?
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I was really impressed.
Yeah.
I admit I was a little bit of a skeptic going in because I had
Okay.
never seen one of these in person, and they're quite expensive.
Mhm.
And photos just it's one of the things that photos don't really do them justice. Like you really have to kind of see it up close and in person. It really under a loop, like it really comes alive.
Mhm.
You can see, evidence of the handwork and the finishing across the entire dial, not just the engraved numerals. It's really quite beautiful, and the watch is just like really perfectly sized too. It's really easy to wear,
Yeah.
and I was a pretty big fan of it. And we had a guest on a podcast recently speaking about the hand winding feel of these watches, and he was spot on. It really is reminiscent of like a great old vintage watch to wind these. They put a lot of thought into it.
Very cool. What caliber are they using in these?
It's a 7750 that has been modified to remove the chronograph works and the automatic rotor. So it's like essentially a
Heavily reworked, yeah.
yeah.
That is maybe the last thing I would have guessed
Yeah.
if you told me to guess what movement was inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wonder like how far stripped down it is, because I have heard of like that gear train sort of being used. Like I've said this in the meme, but I'm pretty sure that's where like Habring was using the
Right.
7750 bases for a while too, and like so radically rebuilding it. Like I wonder if it's sort of like also brands that like Garrick or something that might I believe they build off like a Unitas gear train, but it's like everything else is so extensively rebuilt that it's like.
Yeah.
It's barely even the starting point anymore. I feel like it's
Yeah.
probably along those lines. I mean, even the
think-
central seconds, like that's a whole additional build.
I think
Yeah.
so,
onto it,
yeah.
you know.
And I think the reason initially, if I'm not mistaken, for using that movement was because they wanted a subsidiary seconds at 9 o'clock, which of course the 7750
Mm-hmm.
gives you, in its stock configuration. And now they've kind of changed it. And there is a center seconds model, like the one that we, wrote about on the site. The letter cutter is a, center seconds model, but it's a very robust movement. Like it makes sense to use that movement as a base because it's super reliable, robust.
Yeah.
And they kept it so thin. I mean, you think the 7750 is a chunky movement. You rarely see it in watches like
Yeah, well, you take
under
the
38. And this is a thin 37 millimeter
Yeah.
manual wound. So really,
Yeah, you take the chronograph and the winding rotor out, and you're left with something pretty discreet.
A
Yeah.
mainspring and a gear train.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Well, that's
couple of
that's really
pinions.
cool. A couple
Yeah.
pinions here and there. Maybe a screw or two. What were your impressions?
They were gorgeous in person. I definitely been admiring their work on Instagram for a while, and I feel like I just appreciated the designs. I don't know why they kind of stood out from other things, because it's not like a completely revolutionary design in the sense like there's Breguet numerals, there's leaf shaped hands, like there's familiar elements, but the way they came together always just struck me. And seeing the reality was even better than the photos, like the level, the depth of the engraving, the quality of the finishing, the kind of the sense of it being handmade without it in like the right way. Like
Yeah.
it just feels organic, doesn't feel sloppy or anything like that, but you can tell this isn't like mass produced on machines that spit
Yeah.
out parts at a high level. It's
It's not like shimmering and perfect.
yeah.
But it's also like that's not a fault against
No,
it.
it's
Like
the-
it's a different
the
kind
good
of
thing,
like
yeah.
high end
Yeah.
hand finishing that results in something, like you said, like more organic and kind
Yeah.
of grounded.
Which I think fits in well with like the armory and
Oh,
that-
yeah.
Yeah.
they-
Tailoring and
they
everything
mesh well
and-
together.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just reserved and elegant, really, restrained watch, and it's a luxury watch. It's a expensive times, you said, but it's nobody would ever look at that and kind of like assume it's something.
Yeah, it's
I don't
not
know,
flashy.
Yeah, not flashy
Yeah.
at all. I mean, like the way the type, the Neo Hidea like writing on there. It's so small and subtle. It's like
Yep.
almost, I don't know, matter of fact or something. It's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
then that
so
moon phase.
this is the second collab we've seen with Armory in recent months. Actually, I think it was the Moser with the Vanta Black
Yes.
dial and the applied new. They aren't actually applied. It's a cavity in the Vanta Black that reveals the
The golden
under.
or
I think that's how it is because you can't actually put anything on the Vanta Black.
Yeah, it's like
So I think that's how it worked, and
I
that was a
believe
really
that's right.
beautiful example.
Yeah.
As well. I like
we
that
saw
one quite a bit.
you know we spoke with Mark Cho
Mark Cho,
at the Armory when we were there, and he had his personal Moser there, and he let us see it, and it's still pretty amazing. We saw it in Geneva at Watches and Wonders, but better lighting in the Armory, and you really get a sense of the Vanta Black.
And he pointed out, you're looking at we're looking at a photo on my phone for everyone who's listening, but like you're looking at it and there is something off about it, like it's weird. But the Vanta Black, because there's a crystal over it, it's not like you can that depth is like quite as noticeable because the crystal basically creates a mirror, but it's still like weird. And then Mark pointed out exactly what is weird about it. The hands don't cast shadows because the surface is so dark.
Wow, I guess
So
that's
they-
something that you would notice but not be able to put your finger
Yeah.
on kind
Yeah.
of thing. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this photo and there's no shadows from those hands.
So
It's very
crazy.
strange.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful one as well. Both of these watches are on the site, by the way, including some hands-on shots that were taken. They came out really lovely. Another watch that was just released. I just returned from Zurich. I was there with Breitling for the release of a new Navitimer, the Cosmonaut. This is a limited edition Navitimer that is modeled after the original Cosmonaut worn by Scott Carpenter, an astronaut of the original the Mercury 7. So he did his mission in the Aurora 7 was orbiting the Earth. He kind of recreated John Glenn's path of 3 orbits. I think there's a better word for that, maybe circumnavigations of the planet. So he
Sounds
did that.
right.
Yeah, it sounds about right. He did that in about 5 hours, and then he came down into the Atlantic Ocean and was recovered. He was wearing a Navitimer that he requested some customizations from Breitling for this watch, and it became the Cosmonaut. The biggest of which being he wanted a 24-hour time scale. Because when you're up there, you see X number of sunrises and sunsets as you're orbiting the Earth. So, you don't have the concept of like AM, PM.
Okay.
And he wanted the watch that would be synchronized with the clock that was in the capsule that he was in. And there's a couple of other modifications to the bezel as well. So this the new one. Oh, by the way, that watch that was on his wrist was so when he landed back in the ocean. It took a while for his recovery because he overshot his landing point by quite a bit. So it got waterlogged because he got out and getting the flotation thing up and all that. So it got waterlogged and was thought destroyed. But it was sent back to Willie Breitling, I guess, at the time, who just kind of hung on to it in a drawer or something like this, and its whereabouts had been unknown.
Wow.
But they had it there, and they brought it out and they put it on display. It's it doesn't look like a watch; it just looks like totally kind of eroded, but almost in like an artistic kind of beautiful way, beautiful way. But they had it totally untouched from when he took it off his wrist. So
Incredible.
they had that on display there, which is the first time it's been publicly shown. It was very cool. And then they had the new one, which is also a 24-hour dial and manually wound movement. So pretty cool altogether. 41 millimeters, I think,
bad.
13 millimeters thick, and it's still the chronograph, right? So pretty reasonably sized, all things considered. Pretty sharp. But they put a date on there at 6 o'clock, and they didn't put the word cosmonaut on the dial. And there might be some sensitivity around that word right now, but I still think it's a really cool name for a watch and a missed opportunity to have that on the dial. Did you guys see this watch? Do you have any thoughts
I have
on
seen
it?
it online,
Yeah.
What'd you think of it? Are you a Breitling fan?
I want to be a Breitling fan.
Yeah.
I do. I've not had a model particularly, jump out at me to pick up, but yeah, I do like it. I think it's a great looking watch. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Did you guys? This is
I just
built on
wanna
the same
say-
like Navitimer that was just introduced.
Cosmonaut, more like Cosmo Yes.
Cosmo, yes.
That's my only addition to this
That's Zach's,
conversation.
that's his
Yeah.
contribution to that.
Yeah.
What about you, Zach?
I think it's a cool watch. I think the history is interesting. It's cool that Breitling is highlighting the heritage of that watch, and that they have like the actual worn watch, the waterlogged one. The photos of that that I saw were very cool. I don't know. A 24-hour scale is not really particularly useful for me because my circadian rhythms. I go to sleep at night, and I don't necessarily need the.
And most of the time,
24
we
hour.
are on the Earth's surface. So
Most of
we
the
can
time,
see,
yeah.
Like the,
But I
I
think
like
it's
the idea
a
of it though. I don't know. I feel like maybe there's room in a collection for the sake of experience of like a true 24-hour watch. I don't know. It might be too weird
Yeah.
to throw me off.
I mean, there are other watches that have been adjusted
Yeah.
for 24 hours. It's just not something that's ever really personally appealed
Yeah.
to me. But it's a cool thing. Like I'm glad that that Breitling continues to kind of like put out interesting watches that are connected to their own history and like actual history. It's pretty cool.
The first Christopher Ward world timer they made, which had like a map on the dial and the city. It was confusing to describe, but it had a map and like a dot would jump around the map for different cities and things like that. But it was on 24-hour time too, and I remember wearing that. And it was odd, but it made a lot of sense with the world timer. But I
Yeah.
don't think it helped them with like selling it because it was like a little bit too
if you have to explain
heady,
how something is, I feel like a lot of world timers fall into the category.
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
What's going on here? How do I use this? What's Oh, and then of course once you get the explanation, it's pretty straightforward.
And is there
Yeah.
time outside of New York City? I mean, come on.
I don't think so.
You know.
I don't know.
Center of the universe.
Well,
supposedly.
Center of the
Universe,
universe. Yeah, we so at the event they had Scott Carpenter's children were there, and the astronaut Scott Kelly was there. So they
Very
had a big kind of
cool.
forum talking about watches in space. And Scott Carpenter, who's actually a pretty interesting guy, like he was into watches enough so that he had a Navitimer and thought to write Breitling for a specific watch for this mission. Like they had
Wow.
nothing to do with it outside of, it was just out of the blue that they got a letter from this guy, So I thought that was pretty cool. And then after this mission, he went on to be a member of the Navy's Sea Lab project,
Oh, very cool.
which is also pretty cool. And so he was part of Sea Lab 2. He lived underwater for like a month off the coast of California, and
He lived in an underwater habitat. He didn't like grow
Habitats.
gills and
yes, yes, a
actually
Clarify.
Thanks for
live
clarifying.
the
under
Sea
the
Lab,
sea.
the
Those
Sea
need to
Lab
be-
environment.
Yeah.
Yes. And then it of course is another pretty famous dive watch that's associated with the Sea Lab project that his family still has the one as far as I understand. So that's pretty cool. So I think he's like a pretty legit watch guy.
Seems to be, yeah.
Which
Real
is pretty
Renaissance
cool.
man of the extremes.
Yeah, prolific. Yeah. So that was that. That was that release. I can't think of. I don't know. Breitling, I'm kind of with you. I want to like them. Like I'm on the fence in a lot of ways about the brand, but
One day. One day.
we'll get there. Yeah.
I like that the Deus motorcycle
Yeah,
lab
that was
one
pretty
with those
cool.
kind of rounded square subdials. It was very pretty. Like they're, I don't remember the size. They're always like a little bit larger than I think I want or whatever. But I haven't actually really tried them on either. And they did some there was a triple calendar chronograph the other day. Maybe the pistachio dial. Was that them?
Yeah, they
Or
had
is that
the,
my
they had the
mixing that?
Dado
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
that was very nice looking.
Yeah, there's been a
but
handful
the
of nice
pistachio
ones.
one I think was just the chronograph.
Was that just a chronograph? Yeah.
I like that color a lot though.
Yeah.
And I like the outer known thing that they did. They've got a diver with that like kind of concave bezel action, which I think is kind of interesting
Yeah.
looking. So yeah, I think they're moving in the right direction as well. And I got to have dinner with Scott Kelly.
Yeah, best part.
Yes.
Hmm.
So we got to chat about
What did he order? I'm just
space. But yeah, fabulous guy. Thank you to Breitling for making that happen for us. And we've got the details, including a couple live shots of the watch live on the site right now. So go check that out if you like Breitling. Kat,
Yeah.
this is your first podcast here as an official
First
member
podcast.
of the team. For people who, the one or two people who listen to our podcast that weren't listening
Those two people.
to 10 and 2, tell us a little bit about you, what you've been
Yeah.
up to.
So just from the beginning, from beginning of time.
All the way from the
Beginning
beginning.
of time.
like your entry into the hobby.
Yeah.
And,
Sure,
your,
no problem.
Your counterpart.
So I think oh gosh, can't even remember now, 5 or 6 years ago, I got into the hobby, and I started by, silly, but wanting to buy me and my husband like a couple's watch, right?
Okay.
And
Like a single watch that you
no,
would
no,
both wear, or
no,
the same
like
watch?
like
that-
matching
duo.
watches,
Gotcha.
or not matching, but like a pair.
Yeah.
And somehow I ended up on Watch You Seek. Don't know how I ended up there, but once I was there, it was a huge rabbit hole.
You didn't run away.
I didn't run away. I was
Yeah,
very
that's
intrigued
exceptional.
by this group of people that was obsessed with watches, and I've always liked watches. As a kid, I remember my brother would have cool G-Shocks, and like I had a cute little rainbow Timex, and I was always jealous of his cool sporty watches, but was gravitated towards them, and gadgets in general, EDC stuff too. So I guess it was just like it was a fit waiting to happen for me, but. Yeah, dove deep into the hobby, and then I guess about 3 years ago now, started the podcast 10 and 2 with Catlin, and that
Shout
took
out
off.
Catlin.
Yeah, shout out Catlin with Norcane. But yeah, we took off, and I guess during the pandemic, I was in physical therapy. I got furloughed, as many people did, and I just started shooting watches for the podcast, and then photography took off, and here I am now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Media production manager. is your
Being a
official
production
title.
manager, yeah, Warner Wild.
Yeah, very talented photographer, of
Thank
course.
you, thank you.
And you can find you're on Instagram.
Yeah.
As just Cat
Cat
Shoulders.
Shoulders,
I
yeah.
think is,
Keep it easy.
Yeah. So if you don't follow her, definitely go do that. You see lots of awesome, beautiful watch.
Well, thank you. Yeah, yeah.
photos. So, and you are based in
Nashville.
Nashville.
Yeah.
Okay. I can hardly keep track of where he's at. So
Oh, really?
try and keep this,
one of those one of like
what do you have
the,
there?
The New
Maine,
England
Vermont,
states.
New
one of the
Hampshire,
6 or
something?
7 New England states. It's, we're up there somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, that's cool. We'd love to come down and do something with do some kind of get together down there.
Yeah, there's
in,
a
in
big
Nashville.
big watch club in Nashville, so we should definitely do something down there.
Yeah,
Excellent.
in the building with the pointy ears.
Oh, the Batman building.
In the Batman building.
Yeah, we call it the Batman
I
building.
didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I thought it looked like Sauron when I drive by, but then
It,
she told
it
me.
does. Yeah.
She told
I
me,
can totally
oh,
see
it's
that
been
too.
there from like since before that. I think it's like the AT&T building or something.
Yeah, it used to be like Bell South before that, but yeah,
Okay.
we do call it the Batman building.
Is it one of those like switching buildings where like it has like no windows? Like there's a famous building in downtown Manhattan that like you always see photos of like, what is this crazy building? And it's like it's a switching building. I believe it was owned by AT&T now, and it was built to withstand a very large blast. So
Oh,
it has no
no.
windows and it's all solid to keep communications
That's
up.
crazy.
So I don't know if there's
No,
other
no.
of these buildings
It's like
that
an
are
evil
around.
building.
This one
It
does have
is a
windows. It
sinister
has
looking
windows.
building.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so all right. I just thought maybe
It just has,
maybe
it has pointy ears
this
at the
one has
top.
pointy
Yeah,
ears.
yeah.
It just has pointy ears. Okay, just a building with pointy ears because why not?
So yeah, what's tell us about like the community down there?
Yeah.
with like watch collectors.
There's a Nashville Watch Club,
Is there?
or probably 150 members total.
Wow,
we
cool.
haven't really had a lot of get-togethers. We haven't really come back after COVID.
Okay.
Little groups here and there, but nothing big.
Mhm.
Oris came down, I think, at the end of last year, and we had a few people come out for that when that was fun. But yeah, they're dying to get together, so maybe we should do something soon.
Yeah, we'll have to for sure. I know that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think
there's good
some
barbecue
of those,
down there.
like those lower states kind of get forgotten too
Yeah.
in the watch community. So
chicken.
yeah,
Actually, oh yeah.
which is hopefully wind up Chicago, not too far away, and drive up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
It's
not-
a
mid-July.
little day drive.
yeah. I guess I've not made that drive, but
I think it's like 6 or 7 hours. It's not too bad.
Okay. We had people come from the San Francisco one, from L.A., which I think is 4 or 5 hours. Seattle,
Seattle,
it's from all around. So yeah, please do if you're down there and you've got a free few days in
Yeah.
June.
I kind
July.
of consider
July?
anything
It's,
less than like 8 hours
I
is
have
like
our
pretty
dates
doable.
in mind, but
Yeah.
let me look up the exact dates. So I don't get it. July 17th through 19th.
July 7th.
Oh wait, hold on. Am I correct there?
I can sense Nelly shaking
Oh
her
my
head
God,
at
I
us
know.
on the
I
other
This is
side of the
terrible.
wall.
That is wrong. Ignore that last thing. I was looking at the wrong month. It's July 15th.
July 15th. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
free mid-July.
Sorry, July
Okay.
15th.
July 15th to be exact.
Yeah, I know
Why not?
our travel date's better than the exact date, so I wanted to get it wrong. So I didn't want to get it wrong.
Yeah, no, that should be a lot of
Yeah.
fun. All the Midwestern people, we'd love to see you out
Yeah,
in Chicago.
I'm excited.
This will be the first official one in the Midwest.
Yeah.
So we're all excited about that. So tell us about your watch collecting now. Like, how has it kind of evolved since you've kind of gotten into it, like
Yeah.
proper 5 years ago? Like, how do you have you seen it change? Have what
Oh,
you, like what
yeah.
you like and
I
collect
mean-
has it kind of changed as well?
I was the type of person when I first got in the hobby, I was a buy and sell,
Okay.
flipping watches left and right. I
Yeah.
mean, I think I charted everything out maybe a year ago, And it got to the point where the number was so high, I just stopped because I just didn't want to go beyond that. I was like, this is just too much for me.
The number, the quantity
The
of
quantity was like
flips.
over 100.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, yeah, I
That's
have
impressive.
a problem. I have a
But
problem.
you got to
That's not a-
experience.
yeah, that's-
No,
a lot of
I
different
did,
watches
and
at
that's the
that-
great thing. It's like I did get to experience, and I kind of viewed it as like, yeah, you buy a watch and then you sell it, and you may lose or you may gain some money afterwards. But it's like, all right, if I lost $25 on the sell, that's like I rented that watch for 6 months for $25,
yeah,
that's
sure,
the right
and,
way to
and
look at
that's
it.
kind of how I look at it. So, that's how I justify it. I guess.
Yeah.
My husband
But it-
doesn't, but I do.
But it probably helped you like hone in on like,
Yeah.
okay, this is
I literally just I didn't know where my taste was, so I bought a lot and have figured it out, and now I have like maybe less than 10 watches.
Do you know
So-
which watch flipped the fastest?
Oh no, I don't know. I have to really think about that.
Okay.
Like as soon as I got it, I
like
was like,
yeah,
no,
I mean,
that's
it
not
happens.
it. Yeah.
You know, you gotta watch. You're like, ooh, okay, that wasn't how I imagined it
Yeah,
to be.
and the hard thing too is like Nashville doesn't really have a lot of watch shops either, so you
Mm-hmm.
kind of have to buy and just play and see. I couldn't go try on a lot
based
of
on
watches.
pictures,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Now it is growing now, but at the time there just really wasn't a lot of places to try on watches.
Yeah, that's the struggle in New Hampshire too.
yeah.
You have to, Boston has watch shops, but
How far is Boston?
it's like an hour or so.
Okay,
for
that's not
me.
too bad. That's
But still, like it's hard to. It's not like in New York where everywhere you go, like
Yeah.
you can, there's like a
You guys
meetup
haven't
or,
made
or
here,
a,
yeah.
place to buy a watch. It's sometimes you have to like take a
go to
flyer
any of
and
those
like
places though. Come on,
I know. I was like,
going to a
there's-
watch shop in Midtown, like, kill me. Come on.
There's like one street in Manhattan that you can go to and literally see every
yeah,
type watch you
Yeah.
ever wanted to see. But
But we're in Brooklyn, so that we don't go to Manhattan very often. That's,
Yeah. I like Manhattan more than you, I think. But
Yeah, 'cause I've
you
been
were
there for a
born
while,
there,
yeah. But yeah.
To me, this still like
I don't go.
magic.
When I was a kid,
Yeah.
though, I did go to the watch stores like often with my dad. If I take that for granted, I'd go to the Torno Time Machine at
Yeah.
the
Oh,
which
yeah,
is
that's
now
really
Bucher
nice.
Time Machine, and that store's 3 floors of watches, and then
it's like a
down
dream.
yeah, no, it was amazing, and we'd spend hours in there. And then down the block from there used to be a store called Kenjo, which had like all of the independent stuff, and like so I have memory of seeing like Lon Silverstein's and things
Oh,
from back in the
nice.
day, and
Wow.
like
Wow.
yeah, that definitely ingrained in me.
Yeah, no, it's cool. The stuff we have access to, I think, is very much taken for granted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's just, like,
Definitely.
right there.
Wempe too.
Yeah,
It's a cool
yeah,
store.
Winnipeg, and all the boutiques that are kind of within stone's throws of each other down there too.
Yeah.
And then 47th Street.
And watches was in Soho. Watches, yeah, no.
Yeah, so back to what I was saying about being able to go
Yeah.
see watches anywhere.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, but
it's,
once again, you just have to,
Yeah.
take a train for 20
Yeah.
minutes. It's the worst.
Yeah.
We had like 180 in Nashville for a long time, basically, in a handful of brands.
Crazy how
so.
it's not because it's not like
Yeah,
Nashville
like,
is
it
an
is
unknown
growing. And
city.
we've
yeah.
got like 2 or 3 now.
Okay.
So yeah, it is growing.
Alright.
We got Omega Boutique too, and it's nice.
Mega boutique. So what like your collection now? You see, you
Yeah.
have about 10 watches.
Yeah, about 10.
Like, are they all kind of in a
I
similar
don't count G-Shocks, by the
vein,
way.
or are they all like
Interesting.
like
I don't
are they all
count the
kind of
G-Shock.
like sport watches?
Yeah,
or-
I think I gravitate towards sports watches. I love dress watches. I've owned a handful of Grand Seikos, and they never stick. Jeans, hoodie, that's like my daily
Yeah.
wear T-shirt, and so I just feel like the sports watches just match my style a little bit more. So
Yeah.
You're saying
Yeah, that's where I
G-Shocks
ended
don't
up.
count in that, like, you
I
can,
don't count
you can
G-Shocks.
just have as
Towards the
many as you
number.
want.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
no,
don't
no,
count.
no, that's
They don't
what I
count.
figured.
Like
Okay.
all
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, no,
So I've
it's
got
like-
like 3 or 4 G-Shocks laying in there,
Yeah.
but yeah, about solid. I haven't officially counted, but I think around 10,
Around
and that's a
10.
good number. I feel like I can rotate and like feel like I'm wearing everything.
Mhm.
I'm a little worried now. It's like I would like to stay in that range, but then you get to this point where like something has to go if you bring something in, and that's getting hard because
Yeah.
I like all the watches I have.
Okay.
But
I think I only know of 2 of them because we recently talked. What's a watch that would surprise us that you own?
that I own, I think a lot of people are surprised I own the Speedmaster Mark II, like the
Yeah,
racing
yeah, I
dial.
love
'cause
the Mark
it's
II
it's
Speedmaster.
a very thick watch,
Yeah.
and probably not a lot of ladies are going to wear that watch. So I love it
How often do you wear it?
pretty often, a couple
Yeah.
times a week. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
It's a very cool watch.
Yeah, I like it. What are your thoughts on Velcro straps?
We ask everyone this question.
I despise them. No, I'm joking. I think I was talking to you, Zach, earlier this week about it, but I like a good Velcro strap, like
Yeah.
something like the Apple Watch has. Some of
Yeah.
the ones we're looking at here on the table, I'm not like the fuzzy. I don't like just the aesthetics of it, I don't really love.
Yeah, there's a few different. All right, we'll put some context around this. Zach Weiss, Zach Kazan, and myself each wrote kind of opinion pieces in the last couple of weeks. Mine was about Velcro straps, saying I would like to see more of them. I would like to see better ones, like from kind of higher up brands, making proper ones for their watches. I'm like over the whole like alligator on a dress watch type thing. Like, no, like let's get creative here. Let's do something with some of these materials that
Velcro on a dress watch.
Velcro on a dress. Like, let's say that's the other, like, you know,
I
think
it's like Velcro on your sneakers, you know.
It's like eating out at a nice restaurant and then pulling out that Velcro wallet.
Yeah.
That's the wallet. That's the other thing I was trying to think of. I think I put like Trapper Keeper in there because that's what this thing reminded me of. But yeah, the wallet thing.
Yeah.
With
It's
the
definitely that like
Everybody
inelegant
looks
moment.
around.
I remember feeling that way, and I know people are probably gonna get pissed at me for saying this, but like when we first developed our watch rolls back like 8 years ago, like there were other watch rolls out there. They were very nice, they're very expensive, but they had Velcro closures, and I was just like, that's so inelegant. You're like ripping it open, and out comes your long gun. I was just like, no, we're gonna do something a little nicer than that on ours.
Yeah. Well, look, don't.
But
Velcro is very functional. It's
It's
very functional. No, it's true.
I'm not saying it's elegant. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just saying like, but look, like where these ones kind of do have that kind of like. You know, like this, I think it's
is
kind of
nice.
soft.
Yeah.
It doesn't make that like
Yeah.
horrible
This
sound.
being the Tudor
This is the
FXD,
Tudor
yeah.
FXD that I have, which I think is a pretty nice execution.
The
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
of the I don't know what you call the two sides. So I guess that's the hook side, and this is the
hooks
loop
and the
side. Should we call it that?
To be fair,
Okay.
we shouldn't be saying Velcro because it's.
Yeah, we're gonna get.
Well, some of
Yeah,
these
yeah.
I don't think we'll use, but they
They
call it Velcro. Swatch calls it
explicitly did
Velcro on their
not.
site.
Okay.
they
call
went
it
out of the
hook.
way to not
Yeah.
call it that.
So hook
What's
and
the
loop
cr-
is generally the
that's the-
generic.
Hook and
Oh,
loop.
really?
But I have
I
actually
was like,
heard
what the
that's
hell is
even
hook and
that
loop?
might be trademarked by somebody. So whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, we're just talking about things we can say. It's very soft and felt like. It's not.
Yes.
It's a much more tighter kind of nice weave than these other ones, which are the classic Velcro you've kind of always known. You know, there's definitely an improvement here.
Yeah, it looks like the Moon Swatch is probably
Yeah.
like, I don't know, the cheapest material I would say out of these three watches at least, and then the Zodiac is like a little bit step above, and then of course I think the
Yeah.
Tudor's the better one.
This I like this strap. It's comfortable and
Yeah.
like, and the whole point is like it allows for like a level of like fit, and it doesn't-
Infinite adjustability.
like infinite adjustability. There's no like, oh, this is really stiff and I have to break it in for like a month to get
Yeah.
the like softness that I want. Like it's always just like right there.
Right out of the box, yeah.
Yeah, and it was Steve Halleck was like the extreme of this because he had that Grubel 4C on that blue Velcro
Yeah.
strap, you know, and I was like, oh, if it works there,
an
surely
OEM
other
blue
people-
Velcro
an
strap that
OEM
Grubel
blue
4C
Velcro,
makes.
like a Grubel 4C
Yeah.
signed Velcro strap.
Wow.
And you know, if they're the top of the heap when it comes to like independent watchmaking, then you know I feel like we should be seeing more of these options on.
Yeah, I mean, what does Apple charge? Like $50 for one of their
And that's
Velcro
another
straps?
excellent one.
Yeah.
Formex makes a great one that's a lot like that, like
Yeah.
that kind of style.
I really
So
love
does
it.
Louis Aurard on the
Oh,
new
yeah.
one, Silverstein
Got it on
watch,
yours,
which
yeah.
is my most recent experience with Velcro straps, and
Very similar.
like that was when I got that watch. I was like, it is so absurd that a watch that's $3,500 or whatever it was comes on this Velcro strap. But there was something kind of absurd about the whole watch in general. So like I was like, well, whatever. The strap is like my favorite part
It's so
almost. It's so comfortable. Yeah, and it is that Apple strap kind of thing. But what's also nice about that strap, and I think it's the same thing with Apple. So the hook is a very tight, like very precise type of hook. And it's like a few little pads, and it just sticks to the strap itself. There is no
Yeah.
fuzzy part. The whole
Yeah.
and it works like it really grips it. It's like
Yeah.
hook and loop perfected, if you
Mhm.
will.
Perfected.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like it. All right, so yeah, go read that if you want to, and you can leave your thoughts. I know it was either a love or hate type thing that a lot of people
think
were
so.
like, you're crazy,
Very
or like,
polarizing.
that sounds
It's
great.
been a bunch of other, you know, like remember like he's still around, I think, with Gas Bones, you know,
Mhm.
do all the straps. Like those were those Velcro military style straps. You
Yeah,
get like
Yeah,
those
I
are
haven't
very
heard of
good
custom.
quality too.
Yeah, they might have been a little bit more like a thing, probably like 6-7 years, or maybe before Warner. Like it was,
Okay.
he was around, but he was, you know, one of those things you had to like write in to order. You had to do your measurements, and it'd make it for your watch. But it was a Velcro custom fit strap, and they were cool. I think Blake Mallon actually had one for a Sin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was neat.
Yeah, just go. You know, let us know your thoughts on Velcro straps down below, or go find the article and check it out. Zach, you wrote an article that was a little heavier than Velcro
A little
straps.
heavier. A little heavier.
You wrote an article about the concept of the poor man's the
thing.
semantics around it.
Yeah. Just it's something I feel like it's always kind of grated on me. There's the expression, though often used facetiously and without any like malintent, like at times it definitely is used to kind of like belittle or brush off.
Yep.
And just as like an expression, just as feels, loaded. And when you kind of look at it, semantically, like kind of take a step back, it just feels very off, and like it's not really something that like an inclusive and growing group of enthusiasts should really embrace.
Yeah.
And I've been on the other side of it, I don't know, as the poor man, I guess, like, like
We've all been
refer
there.
to watches. And one of the watches, it's funny, I actually didn't even think about this when I was writing the article, because what came to mind immediately was the Black Bay Pro, which has been referred to as the poor man's 1655, and the Speedmaster Moonwatch, which has been but I used to own a watch that was regularly referred to as the poor man's Carrera, which was the Hamilton Chronomatic from 1969, which is like such an absurd concept, other than the fact that it costs less. But like there was this whole implication that it was like a copy of the other one or this other thing, and it's like it was actually much rarer than the Carrera, and it's like it was just such a weird way. It was kind of like, you don't have the real thing. This one's the real thing. You wish you had that thing. It's like, no, it never was the case.
Yeah, because a lot of people are just happy with that thing. They don't aspire to own whatever.
And they didn't get it as like a consolation prize because they didn't get the other one.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's just an incredibly dismissive way to refer to something.
And to be clear, this isn't a hobby that you move through by like leveling up on the amount of money that you spend on a watch. Like that.
Ironically, as you spend money on watches, you kind of level down, and
sometimes.
Look, there's a ratio there, right? Of course. But no, I think it was you got a lot. There was a lot of feedback and comments on that as well. And to be clear,
most people were like on the same. The people got it and were in the got it. Understood what I was where I was coming from. I was trying to get across. I really don't. It wasn't terribly controversial. I feel like it made hit a note of something
poor people.
Just to be clear. I hope that wasn't part of it. No, and it wasn't like don't refer to me as poor. It was like if you spent $50 or $50,000 on something, you should cherish it the same way, and one person shouldn't tell the other person how they should feel about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I've always hated that term too. Yeah.
It's rough. So thank you for writing that.
Thank
it
you.
was very good. Definitely go check that out and leave your 2 cents in the comments below if you want to. Zach Kazan, you also wrote an opinion piece.
I did.
Tell us about that.
I wrote a piece about birth year watches and how I don't care for them one bit.
Yeah.
Just the idea of them. I shouldn't say I don't care for birth year watches one, because a watch can be, every watch is a birth year watch for somebody.
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't like old watches or vintage watches. It's just I've seen a lot of like Instagram like watch dealers kind of recently moving towards these ads that promote watches like from say like the late 80s or early 90s as birth year watches, kind of like luring people in, with this idea of like buying something that will be meaningful because it was made in 1987 or 1991 or whatever, and that just seems really ridiculous to me. And we talk about like the meaning behind watches and like kind of imbuing them with meaning through like living your life with the watch, and that just to me seems like the opposite of that. Like trying to get that meaning just
It's
like
a
right out of the
meaning.
box. Courtesy of your friendly neighborhood Instagram vintage watch dealer. So and also I have a birthday coming up later this year with a 0 at the end of it, so it's kind of a significant birthday, and I've sort of been thinking about like possibly celebrating with a watch purchase.
60-year-old watches are very expensive.
Yeah, 60. Very priced out of those 60-year-old watches. Shut up, Zach.
It's his own anniversary.
So that also is kind of like like a framing device sort of for the piece. But I'm not against. I want to just be clear. I'm not against vintage watches. I love vintage watches. I have vintage watches that I own, that I cherish, that mean a lot to me because because I've learned about the brands and appreciate the history and the design of those watches from another era. And you can certainly wear a vintage watch in much the same way as a contemporary watch, but yeah, just like the idea of buying a birth year watch to like connect with it automatically just doesn't like ring
I think
ring
it's
true to
become
me.
one of those things. It's like a checkbox item for a lot of people. Like get
Yeah.
a Speedmaster, get a birth year watch, get a sub. Like it's just become one of those like checkbox things. And
But then
Agreed.
once you do it, you're like, oh, I don't
not
really like the
really-
Speedmaster
yeah.
or the sub, or
Yeah.
this birth
Exactly.
year watch.
Now I
doesn't
just
really
have
mean
this
anything
date
to
just
me.
from 1987,
Yeah.
and like
But I'm told it should mean something. But
yeah,
it's like the what did I say? The Hallmark cards, creating the extra holiday in the year, so that you,
Oh, yeah.
you have a reason to buy the gifts
Right.
and give them to the people. Like it's kind of like this manufactured
Yeah.
thing, and you have it. And you're like, oh, this is for my birth year, and then you realize like,
does anybody
a
have,
watch, it's
have a
just
birth year
thing, yeah.
watch?
yeah.
No, I have, but it's my birth year. Is it okay to say it? Like, it's,
What your
19
birth year is? It's up to you, man.
You heard about hackers?
So my birth year is 1983, which is it's like right on the border of kind of a transitional period for Rolex watches. So
Yeah.
I had a Submariner 16800 that had a matte dial from 1983 because that's the year that it like transitioned to the white gold surrounds. And,
Okay.
so like I legitimately thought it was an interesting watch that
Yeah.
happened to also be from my birth year. But there's a lot of really cool watches that fall kind of right on that line because it is like right on the border of a
Yeah.
transition period.
Yeah,
going
well,
into the
I'm
transition
82,
period,
so it's
yeah.
kind of a similar thing. There's a lot of
Yeah.
interesting Rolex references from that period.
To me, the trick is also like, if something like that, or maybe go even a step further and find like what watch was launched like brand new in 1982 that's still around today. So you'll have like the 40th anniversary of that watch on your 40th. You know, you
That'd be
gotta-
kinda
You
cool.
gotta narrow it
Yeah.
down.
like that is a more interesting way to approach it, I think, if you like genuinely like appreciate like the history of that
Yeah.
of that watch. Like I wouldn't want to like I could see myself doing that if it was a watch that I like was really drawn to and I wanted to own like the modern version.
That's cool.
too.
I think it's a
Like
good
for
idea.
example, like the Zenith Defy. Like I owned a vintage Zenith Defy and a modern Zenith Defy at the same time. Not a birth year Zenith Defy, it was much earlier because I'm not that old.
Battle.
But I kind of enjoyed the experience of having like both of those at the same time and like kind of observing how like the design language kind of like shifted and morphed from one thing
Yeah.
to another, but there was still this through line through them.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. And to be clear, like you separated this concept from like being a person that is buying a watch for your child that's being born.
Yeah.
and,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm buying this watch for because then you like then it will generate the media. Like,
That's
yeah,
cool, yeah.
I think that's a
Sort
very
of,
different thing, and I like that concept a lot of buying
Yeah.
a watch for your child like in their birth year, and then giving it to them at an appropriate time so that they can inherit the psychosis that we all have developed
Yeah.
through years in this hobby. I think you pass those things on to your kid by all means.
I've seen some people, they go as far as birth year and then they try to hunt down like the month of production too. I was like, boy, it's just like
Wow.
so crazy.
that gets a little dicey.
Yeah.
That's-
The watch is exactly as old as you. It's
Trying
like,
to, yeah. I remember looking because I'm 91 myself, and there was just no watches that I liked from my birth year. I was like, these are all
Get
ugly.
a cool like Quicksilver or something.
Yeah. So I was like,
Yeah.
this is not happening.
Boy, that
Iron
would be a
Man.
tricky year, right? 91.
Yeah. I mean, the closest I got to something I like would just be like a Datejust, a two-tone Datejust.
But also-
yeah.
That's probably what people default
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Just have
Yeah.
like, oh,
But the other side of it is also as you get older, the cost of the watches from your birth year goes up.
Oh,
So
yeah,
for all the like
of course, yeah.
5-year-olds listening right now, go and find a watch right immediately.
Get it lots hot. Yeah.
yeah.
If only. God, amazing watches back then. Just like
Yeah,
use your, I don't know, arcade money. What do kids have money for? I don't know.
tickets
Arcades?
from the arcade.
Yeah.
Well,
They don't even have cash anymore. These kids.
They
probably.
turn into
Yeah, it's all crypto.
Robux.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take your NFT, your Bored Ape, and
Yeah. Well, Robux, bucks.
yeah,
That's what my kid.
that stuff's not
Yeah.
gonna age well. I don't think.
I'm not gonna buy you $50 worth of Robux. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the idea of buying stuff in a virtual only environment. I feel like this is gonna be inevitable though. Like this kind
Yeah.
of stuff is coming into the watch space,
Yeah.
and we are going to have to confront
Yeah,
it.
it's funny though.
NFTs
Like,
and virtual.
Just
but the watch
meta-
space is like it's born. It functions because it's anachronistic and it's behind the time by virtue of that we like these things that you don't need. Like, so the idea like it took it so long to get to the point of like having online store. There's still articles being written regularly about X luxury brand like made the leap to the like
To
online space.
Yeah.
That like now that they're gonna like be like, oh, well, now we have to get to the next place and go to the metaverse, which is like
Oh, that'll be.
I
Another,
think like, but like, no, I don't think that's going to be as widely accepted, and maybe this is going to be aged really poorly
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like, but like, I just don't think people are going to go entirely into the synth world thing and
I
spend their money
agree.
on
Yeah, I
virtual
agree.
stuff.
I
and-
don't think people are going to go
so-
entirely into it, but I do think it's coming in some way, and it's going to be a kind of a gradual progression. Like we've already seen this year, there've been a bunch of brands launching, like NFTs along with physical watches, and
It felt just like a novelty, and like nobody.
it's a
like,
novelty
you
now,
know,
but it's like there's going to be more of them, and then
Yeah.
later on it'll become more,
until you can like
omnipresent
tap in, like your brain taps into the virtual world, like all the the actual like
Matrix
cyberpunk stuff,
Matrix
or what was that
style.
Spielberg movie from the other? Player One,
Ready
Ready
Player
Player
yeah.
One.
One,
Until
yeah.
we get there, like
Okay.
virtual stuff is just, it's just pixels. I don't know.
It's just pixels. All right.
Sorry,
Well, how does do you
I
need-
said it. Now it's over for the world right now. But I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. It's like I think we're like it'll take 50 years for that to become successful, and then another 50 years for the watch industry to get on.
I mean, another possibility is we're all in a simulation now, and all of these watches, physical things,
Yeah.
it's all part of the Matrix.
Yeah,
It's
I watched
possible.
Reboot when I was a kid too. Yeah, where the video game. It's
Reboot,
cool.
yeah.
Anyone remember that?
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. You had to be around 40 probably to
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
that show.
Yeah.
Sorry, kids.
Just aged yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a VR headset that you put on. It doesn't change anything about the world around you except by putting the watch that you want onto your wrist
Yeah.
virtually. So you walk around, experience the world exactly as it is, except you're wearing the
Don't
watch.
say these things on a
that you want.
podcast that the public will listen to. You gotta,
Yeah, you got to trademark
Yeah.
that.
The
or
most useful
patent that.
one.
It's one of the experience of wearing a long. All it takes is this backpack powered VR
Yeah.
experience thing.
Just press a button and switch to
Yeah.
the Google 4C
Yeah.
on the Velcro strap, and you're good to go.
And nobody else can see it. So.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You
Yeah.
can see it, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh wait, do we wear our watches so that other to be
No, I take that all back. I don't care what the people think about that.
Well, then
Anyway.
your headset would have to
Yeah.
be like branded. Whatever
Yeah.
brand, you know.
Okay.
There you go.
What do the other people with VR headsets
Oh,
see?
that's true. If they're also wearing one, they could see it.
I'm kind of confused by this concept. I think it needs.
Your headset would
It's
communicate
getting
with
very
theirs.
Black Mirror. Like, do you
Yeah.
remember that
Project-
Christmas song with John Hamm, and he gets just
Yes.
like muted to the world
Yeah.
as his punishment? It's gonna be like
Oh,
that.
Really
Yeah.
horrifying.
I guess that was a
scenario,
spoiler alert. Sorry, everyone.
Yes.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
5
something
years
that
ago.
aired,
Yeah.
6 years ago. Yeah.
You know, if you're just getting around to Black Mirror, we got past all the horrors there. We're in 2022.
Exactly.
Yeah, now
Reality.
the world is Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And here we are. Yeah, unbelievable. All right, let us
on
know.
that
Your,
positive note.
yeah, on that note, let us
Welcome
know
aboard,
your,
Kat.
Let us know your thoughts. Give us your watch/virtual. What is it called? Metaverse ideas. Leave them in the comments below. And,
Give us your best
and then
metaverse
we will-
concept.
we will
Pitch us your
judge-
metaverse ideas.
and then we will
please.
judge them
Yeah.
on a podcast.
Yeah.
Welcome again to
Thank
Kat. It's great to have you here.
Yeah,
and,
I'm
can't wait to
excited.
have you on more podcasts. Hopefully,
Absolutely.
you'll be a regular fixture on the podcast. So, in the meantime, until next time, thanks for listening. Take care.